Zoos are not there to torture animals but rather to help with the understanding and conservation of certain species. Every time I talk to a vegan friend, they seem to be oblivious to the idea that zoos are not meant to torture but rather to help. Same for people in the comments of YouTube videos. Yeah, that gorilla there seems to be bored and yet it seems kind of small for them to live there. But the alternative would be to leave him in an ever dangerous environment where tomorrow his part of the jungle might just burn down if someone wants it and him and his family all die. Yippee, what a trade-off. At least they don't look bored anymore. This applies to good zoos. There are absolutely bad ones that don't give a shit about the animals aside from getting profit. I went to one in Spain that was horrendous. It was a scorching hot day and many of the animals had run out of water with no zookeepers to be seen. The animals were looking half dead, their enclosures were bare and miserable too. But yeah, a lot of zoos do great conservation work and actually care any the animals. It just depends on each one. Can confirm, we try to help. The animals we have, for the most part, are either injured, born in captivity or endangered. We know enough about each animal's psychology to notice any strange behaviors, and visual health checks are done daily as well as proper checkups to schedule, something you don't get in the wild. The gorilla are pretty content with food, family, and entertainment. In all honesty, it's the apes that seem to develop abnormalities. Source: me. Yeah, that gorilla there seems to be bored and yet it seems kind of small for them to live there. But the alternative would be to leave him in an ever dangerous environment where tomorrow his part of the jungle might just burn down if someone wants it and him and his family all die. A lot of the time when people say some animals are being lazy or depressed, it's because they know fuck all about the behavior of animals in the wild. Gorillas aren't running around 24/7 in the wild. They usually sit around and eat, sometimes run/play/fight. Animals need to conserve energy in case they can't find a meal, especially in the more extreme places like deserts. A lot of animals are actually quite lazy in the wild, and in return, in captivity. When I was a zookeeper, I would constantly hear these claims. It was quite irritating. Oh, look at that gaboon viper, it's just sitting around. It must be bored. Oh, that tree python looks so bored sitting on the branch. Oh, the tiger is sleeping, he must be depressed. Carrot, fucking what? Zoos, especially accredited, have enrichment programs in place to prevent/minimize these behaviors. Just because it looks like it's doing nothing now doesn't mean it wasn't playing with an enrichment item 45 minutes ago and got tired. A lot of people think the ways zoos function hasn't changed at all over the last 100 years. There are a few bad actors, but for the most part zoos try to design their enclosures and habitats to make the animals as comfortable and happy as possible. Our local zoo is filled with mostly wildlife that is from the area that had to be rehabilitated or animals from elsewhere that needed a home. They didn't go buy these animals to show them off, they gave them a home when they didn't have one and now provide educational tours and workshops to help people learn why conserving wildlife and natural habitats are important. Torture. If they were tortured, wouldn't it be noticeable that something was wrong? I.e. walking funny, obviously underweight, etc. If something was wrong with the enclosure, for example, it would usually be pretty obvious if something wasn't right given the animal's actions in their space. Fun fact, animals born in captivity, as in zoos, generally live longer than if they were out in the wild. This is because of the reliable supply of food and sanitary environment, which prevents dying of hunger and disease. Oblivious, you say? That's a bit of an overstatement. Just like they should not generalize that all zoos are bad, you can't say that all zoos are good and try to help. In underdeveloped countries, like mine, I'm pretty sure the majority of zoos are bad and just do it for the profit, especially when they have animals that are not even natural in the region. I'm a vegan and maybe I'm in the minority, but I've known for a long time that good zoos are there to help animals. For example, my local zoo has done tons for endangered species and ones that can't go back to the wild for many reasons. Talk to any zoo employee and they'll tell you the two main goals for any zoo are conservation and education. Entertainment is secondary.